Hello. Let's get started. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, my name is Claudine Gasana. I am an immigration attorney. Yeah. So today, again, Claudine Gasana, immigration attorney. I hope you all had a wonderful week. You know, it's been raining here in Houston, Texas. Rainy week. The whole week has been raining, but we like the rain. That's good for us sometimes, because sometimes it gets so hot here. So today I want to come on and discuss the National Interest Waiver, which is a green card option that is not talked about a lot. It's Claudine Gasana. I am attorney. Here. Yeah. So today, again, Claudine Gasana, immigration attorney. I hope you all had a wonderful week. You know, it's been raining here in Houston, Texas. Rainy week. The whole week has been raining, but we like the rain. That's good for us sometimes, because sometimes it gets so hot here. So today, all right, so I'm back. Technology is not an easy thing. Okay, I'm back because I was hearing myself. I was wondering what's going on, but because I have so many like I don't even know how to call it open. So I'm going to start I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, so we can discuss the National Interest Waiver. So the National Interest Waiver, let me do this. Okay, this is our information. I hope you guys are watching, and if you are not live with us, this video is going to be being recorded so that I can post it on Facebook and YouTube. You know, at the end, I will show you how you can follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, even Twitter, Instagram. We have a new Instagram account, so that we get to provide as many updates as we can, and through different platforms, because we know with the technology, with social media, different people use different platforms to learn. We will learn how to do the Instagram reels so that our young people can follow easily. I'm planning on posting different tips, for example, like tips on asylum or mistakes people make, or that they should avoid in doing this, and on videos that could just stick without having to follow a 30 minutes presentation. So yeah, we follow us on all social media platforms that we have. So today, so we discussed the National Interest Waiver. What is the National Interest Waiver? Here it says it's EB2 immigrant visa. EB stands for employment-based immigrant visa or work-based immigrant visa. There are different types of green card, through family, through marriage, and through employment. So for the employment part, which we will discuss perhaps in the future, different categories of employment-based immigrant visa, there is one option called the National Interest Waiver, which is the employment-based category 2 that we are going to discuss. So what is the National Interest Waiver? The old NIW. The NIW is an immigrant petition for lawful permanent residence under the employment-based second preference category, like I was referring to. They require, so the National Interest Waiver, you hear the word waiver. The typical employment-based lawful permanent residence or employment-based green card options require that you are employed, or you have a U.S. employer or U.S. employer who's willing to petition for your green card to work for them, so a U.S. company. So the National Interest Waiver waives those requirements. The typical requirements for an employer to petition for a non-citizen or a non-resident to come to work in the United States and obtain a green card. Number one, they have to file a labor certification. The labor certification is a lengthy process that requires the employer to make sure they advertised, they try to hire US workers, US citizens, US regular permanent residents, or US asylees, different US workers. And if they are not able to do that, then the Department of Labor allows them, certifies them to, or gives them a go-ahead to hire that foreign worker. So that's what we call the labor certification. It usually takes about 6 months to complete. It's lengthy, it's expensive. And then once that labor certification process is complete, then the employer, the US employer, will file a form I-140, which is the petition for immigrant alien worker. And that finally will allow the foreign worker to come in the US as a legal permanent resident. The National Interest Waiver waives or removes those requirements to have a US employer and to have the labor certification process. So, and then who qualifies for the National Interest Waiver? The National Interest Waiver qualifies individuals who have exceptional ability or advanced degree in the fields of science, engineering, technology, education, arts, business, professionals, that if they can show it will be in the national interest, or their achievement or potential achievements or potential achievement or potential contribution will substantially benefit the United States, the national economy, the environment, the health, the science, research, development, culture, education, all kinds of areas of national importance or national interest. So who is eligible? That's what we're talking about. So, the Congress set, like we have discussed in the past, the Congress enact the law. Like the law was established by Congress, which provided for the National Interest Waiver. However, the law did not define what does national interest waiver means. And throughout the years, this has went through different litigation or interpretations by attorneys, by individuals applying, and by the agency which receives these petitions, USCIS. Finally, in 2016, the Administrative Appeals Office of USCIS set a precedent. We talked about, like, here in the US, the laws, since sometimes they're ambiguous and they only provide like a big framework of a benefit or any right. Most of the time, the courts or the agencies, they set up precedents. So the AAO set a precedent in the matter of DANASAR, which clarify the criteria for determining the definition or the meaning of the national interest. What does national interest mean? So to qualify for the national interest waiver, the matter of DANASAR established that the foreign national must demonstrate that their endeavor is substantial or has substantial merit and is of national importance. The second criterion will be that the foreign national is likely to advance the proposed endeavor. And the third criterion will be, on balance, it will be beneficial to the United States to waive the requirements of a job offer and of a labor certification, because it will be in the national interest to bring in the foreign national. All right, so what is the substantial merit and what is the national importance? Try to see if I can move my camera here. Right. So the substantial merit, basically, it's not hard to prove. You just need to show, okay, I'm a professional. Like I say, you have to have an advanced degree, which is a master's degree, meaning you have completed the 4 years of college, and then you obtain some type of specialization, like a master's program. It doesn't have to be in the US. It could be in anywhere in the world, or someone of exceptional ability. So someone who doesn't necessarily have a bachelor's degree, but they have this knowledge, they have this business acumen, and they can show that they are of exceptional ability, their exceptional ability. Then the substantial merit, it's shown through the industry or through the field in which you specialize in, such as business, technology, science, health, education, engineering, entrepreneurism. So you don't really need to show an economic impact, although it's always better to show the economic impact, but you have to show like what you are potentially doing or what you have done in the past, and what you are proposing to achieve or to bring in the United States will be of national importance and will have some economic impact. For example, we deal with we work with engineers, someone who is an engineer and they have an advanced degree, a master's degree, or someone who is a scientist and they have done research and development in areas of, let's say, cancer treatment, or right now as we speak, someone who has done some type of work or research to help figure out this COVID-19, this will be substantial merit, because it's not only of national importance, it is also of international importance. And it's not necessarily bringing economic impact, is more beyond economic impact, because someone who's a scientist, who's contributing in any way to advance the healthcare, to make an impact in the areas of national importance, such as combating cancer, getting rid of COVID, or in the environment, how to figure out how we can use a clean energy. So those are the main, there are obvious, I guess, cases that we deal with that are easy to win. However, it could be also someone who's coming in or who has, let's say, a filmmaker or a writer or a dancer or a singer who is promoting culture awareness or culture infusion. It doesn't have to be necessarily science and engineering, pure science and engineering. It could be someone who has this technology, especially technology now. We're using all these apps and social media platforms that were not here like 15 years ago because of the innovative ideas of people who just use their brain and their hands, and we have Instagram, we have Zoom, we have all these platforms we are using. So if we have someone like that, it will be in the national interest to keep them in the United States. And how would you, if they are foreign national, they are not US citizens, they are not a lawful permanent resident, they don't have anything like a visa. But they have those ideas, and they have obviously you can just have an idea. You have to have some type of potential impact, like a proof, like original contributions that you have made, or you are in the process of making, and then we can qualify you to show, okay, your impact or your endeavor is of substantial, has substantial merit, and is of national importance. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. So then the second criterion is that the immigrant must demonstrate that they are likely to advance their proposed endeavor. So the first criterion of your area of expertise is of substantial merit and national importance. It's not really hard to prove, because if you say I'm a civil engineer, I am an actor, I am a scientist, I am a filmmaker, I am an engineer. Yes, we have your area of expertise. It's engineering, and we know most likely your area is going to be of national importance. So now, that is not sufficient that you are an engineer, I'm an attorney, or you are an entrepreneur, or you are a business. You have this business acronym, or you have a business major, or you've been in business for 20 years or 10 or 15 years, or you have been a filmmaker or an actor, a dancer, a writer for 15 years. We have to show how you personally can you show you likely advance your proposed endeavor. So that's where the second criterion and the third usually is where sometimes you get, you have really to work hard to provide evidence. So how do you do that? You need to USCIS, which is the agency that reviews these petitions, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Agency. They will consider factors including your education. Of course, you have to show your diplomas, your transcripts, your skills, your knowledge, record of success in similar efforts. Like I said, if you are a researcher or a scientist, you've had publications, you have published, you have published your work, you have citations. You don't necessarily have to have patents, although that will be a very good way to show, okay, this person's work or innovation or discovery has been patented. So that shows, yes, if it was innovative enough to obtain a patent for your work, then you are well placed to advance your endeavor, or you have already done that, and then you have to show how you will continue doing the same. If you have called to give presentations, or you have called to be an expert or a panelist to judge the work of others in your field, you are a peer reviewer, or you in terms of business, let's say, because I said it's not only science and engineering, it could be business, it could be arts or culture, or cultural areas. If you are a filmmaker and your work, you have been received all these awards, or you have been considered for significant awards, your play or your film or your book has been presented in major platforms or in your field, and you have been called to provide, your work has been published somehow. So when we say published, it doesn't mean it has to be published in paper. Right now, we know not almost, like a lot of publications are online, and some people, let's say you are a dancer and you've had YouTube, like million YouTube views of your dance, and you being called to train at other dances. Like let's say for example, you have invented some type of Afrobeat dance, and it has gone viral, and now you are going around the world to train others to perform, and you're winning awards. So we will be able to show that that's also a publication, because it's a matter of viewership and how many, the audience, who's your audience, and what impact has your work, has your talent, has your knowledge, your skill made, and is likely to continue to make. Okay, and also, of course, if you are a business person, or you are an engineer and you have been employed in critical and or essential positions by reputable organizations, that also will be able to show that you are well placed to advance your endeavor. Okay. Right. So, and then you don't really have to show like the likelihood of success, which, if you already have some type of innovative ideas, innovative, cutting edge research or art, it's success in itself. Again, you don't have to show like economic impact or personal financial impact. It's more of the impact in general in the area of national importance, and also international. You don't have to have succeeded here in the US, it could be elsewhere, but you have to kind of show how it will likely advance an area of national importance in the US, and how you personally will be part of advancing that endeavor. Okay. Right. And the third criterion is to determine whether it is beneficial for the US to waive the requirements for a job offer and the labor certification. All right. So most of the labor certification, the way it's set up, first of all, it requires that the employer has to require minimum requirement for a position. Let's say if any US employer is wanting to hire a foreign national in a, say, any position, engineering, accounting, you know, and we talk about how some of these skills cannot even be translated in a typical job. For example, how are you going to hire a dancer because they require a bachelor's degree, and then you might not need a bachelor's degree to do that. You might need the exceptional ability, as we spoke about it. So, and if the labor certification requires only minimum of bachelor's degree and 0 to 2 years of experience, and you are here as a person of all these accomplishments, of course, you have more than 2 years of experience because you have a master's degree and you have all these skills. So you will not likely be picked in the labor certification because they have to really, they cannot hire you unless they show business necessity. So that's going to, you know, it's another topic for another day, for a company to show business necessity, why they are not able to hire a US worker who's there willing to work. They can train them. Why cannot train them, and they have to hire this person with all these skills and expertise? So labor certification sometimes is not practical for some, or actually most of individuals, like entrepreneurs or self-employed individuals, or those people who have achieved some type of success and expertise in their area. So that's how. So we have to show the balance. Say, okay, we cannot hire this. I cannot get a job offer right now because it requires a labor certification, and I might not likely be picked. And even if I am picked, even if I get this green card, it won't necessarily, it won't impede on US workers to obtain jobs. In fact, my expertise will create more jobs, most likely. If I have this innovation that I need to continue working here in the US, I'm more likely to create jobs. I'm more likely to provide to solve a problem of national importance, like environment, like healthcare, like the economy, the culture, education, all that, directly or indirectly. My contribution, the contribution of the foreign national, will create jobs in the future. So that's how you are able to show it will be beneficial for the US to waive the requirement that this foreign national with expertise and national interest waiver is come to the US. They will not take it, nobody, they won't take anybody's job. Actually, they will actually create jobs for more US workers. Yeah, so to be eligible for the national interest waiver, a preponderance of evidence is required. So it's basically preponderance of evidence means you have to show that more likely than not, this person, this individual is an entrepreneur, is an engineer, is a filmmaker, is a writer, is a dancer, is a singer, is a scientist, is I'm talking all types of skills or that I'm thinking it's more, the list is not exhaustive, is an expert, has skills of substantial merit and of national importance, and this person is well placed to advance the specific endeavor in the area of national importance, and it will be beneficial for the US to waive the requirement because of the original contributions, the impact, the achievements, and the innovative ideas and actions that this foreign national will bring to the US. Okay, so we already kind of covered this. Why should one choose the immigrant work visa based on national interest waiver? why should one want to pursue this option? Number one, you don't need a US employer. You don't need a job offer. That's very big because most US companies, they don't really like to go through the pain and the money and the process of hiring a foreign national. If they can find a US worker who already have, work authorization, who already is authorized to work in the US, because, it takes time, it takes also money, and they go through all this process, and it's also audited sometimes. You have, when a US company hires a foreign national on a green card, like on permanent basis, they have to keep their paperwork of how the process of hiring happened for 5 years. They could be audited anytime. So some US companies don't want to deal with the government. So that's why they say, oh yeah, I would really love to hire you, but I don't want to deal with the government. If you can find a way to obtain work authorization, I will hire you. So then if you qualify for the National Interest Waiver, you will self-petition. You don't need a petitioner. You self-petition for yourself. And you all these those steps a U.S. employer will typically take, which is the perm labor certification and the job offer, will not be required. They won't be advertisement. There won't be any sponsorship required. So you'll be able to come in to the U.S. Workforce market with your green card and have a job. If you need a job, most of them, sometimes they don't need a job. They have their own. You can be, if you're an entrepreneur, you continue to create jobs and to work for yourself, and you are authorized to work in the U.S. and live in the U.S. on permanent basis. And if you are married, you bring in your spouse and your children under the age of 21. So it's a good option for people to consider. All right. So here we talk about what are the documents required for an applicant, from someone who's applying for the National Interest Waiver. So, this is not a full list. It's obviously you have to have a resume, a very detailed with education, with job history, or more than that, with all your achievements. If you received awards, if you have so it's not a typical one-page resume. Usually when you work with us, we help you really clean your resume and highlight your achievements and include all the publications you've had. So when we talk about publications, we don't only talk about those published publications. Like, you could, for example, for non-scientists, non-engineers, they don't publish every year or every day. However, you could say, I have this business skills. I was hired in this company that was really almost close to bankruptcy, and with my business skills, I was able to revive and revamp and pull the company out of deficit, and now it's a company that's very competitive. So those skills might not necessarily be in a typical publications, but however, you might have created some, the manuals, or what we call white papers or white pages, in internal memos, internal procedures that have helped a company go from a negative or deficit to millions of dollars of profit. So that's a huge impact, because it does not necessarily only impact that individual company. It has impacted all the employees. You have trained people. You have those skills, you can transfer them to the United States and do the same for, either as a consultant or join another company that's also facing the same problems and help it grow, which when a company grows, it doesn't only benefit the bottom line of that company, is the whole economy of the city, the state, even the country. So the publications don't necessarily have to be, okay, you have to go on Google Scholar and we have to find you have to have citations. But if you do have citations, yes, we include your citations. If you have been called to give presentations in conferences, or you've had award certificate, membership in professional organizations. Yes, we, like I said before, also you show your diplomas and transcripts, or training certificate, credential evaluations for those who were not trained in the US. And yes, let me highlight, you do not need to have a US diploma. You could have a master's degree from any other country, as long as we can have a credential evaluation to be equivalent to a US master's degree. And you may not even have full education. That's where we have the exceptional ability. Like, some people don't really have to go to school to be amazing. As we know, most people who are, mega billionaires now, they just dropped out of school. Some people don't need to go to school. Most of us will go to school because we need to be equipped with the tools to allow us to succeed. But some people are just genius. So you don't need to have that diploma. That's where the exceptional ability comes from. So it's either a master's degree, or you have exceptional ability that, obviously it's not easy to weigh, but if you have all those achievements and you can have them documented, and that's why we can have some letters of recommendation. We have awards. You have been published in the newspaper. You have been called on to provide expertise, or to provide to be a panelist, or you. So there are so many ways you can show, or so many documents you can show to provide to show eligibility to this green card category. Yes, so I said, the recommendation letters from employers, from other experts in your field. Sometimes you can also have an independent evaluator, like someone who could be a peer in the field, who can review your profile, your resume, what you have accomplished, and really give a independent and expertise as to whether they think your contributions and your potential endeavor in the United States will be of national importance. Therefore, you should qualify for the National Interest Waiver. And of course, since it's a self-petition, you are not being hired by an employer, although, you might be, like I said, you might have been approached by a US company, but they would say, okay, no, yes, I will hire you if you had work authorization. That you can show, okay, you have potential US employers reaching out to you, either to employ you, either to consult you. You have consulted in the past with US employers. That will show a potential of being employed, because sometimes they will say, okay, we give you the National Interest Waiver, and then you come to the US and you don't have a job. So it's always good to show like you really have potential of being hired, of working, consulting, or entrepreneurs, they don't really have to worry. So that's how we also help you draft a personal statement regarding your educational background, career, and your current work that you consider that is in the national interest. But also the personal statement will also address, okay, if you are granted this green card, what are your future plan? What is your future plan? How will you continue to work in this area of national importance? What will you, which problems or which issues or challenges that we do have here in the United States, and how can you contribute to solving those problems, or to advancing any ideas, or what type of innovative skills, innovation, or innovative contributions will you bring to the US? So it's a personal statement, well drafted. We usually help you to finalize and to make it very, very persuasive. So those are the documents that typically you will be required, with the help of an attorney, to provide to support your petition for national interest waiver based green card. Okay, so then some people think you need to have a PhD to be a scientist to qualify for the national interest waiver. I think I talked about this in the beginning, that you really don't need to have that. It depends on what type of what is your area of expertise. I mean, like I said, if you are a filmmaker, if you are a writer, if you are a dancer, or a cook, or a chef, or a chef, or if you are some areas, like especially like areas that touch the culture, business, or even educational interests or welfare of the US, do not necessarily require you to have a PhD. Or even in the science field or engineering field, you don't necessarily have to have a PhD. You could have a master's degree. You don't have to have a master's degree and 10 years of experience. No, we have been successful to help people with a master's degree and only maybe a couple years of experience, because of what you have of their skill, of their innovative ideas, or innovative research, or like an entrepreneur. You don't really have to have any diploma to be an entrepreneur. It's all about what makes you stand out? What makes you stand out from the average individual in your area, in your field of expertise, in your field of business, in your entrepreneurship. So no, you don't need to have a PhD, because some people may have a PhD and not qualify, because if your research only, which most of the time, of course, people with PhD, they've had have had research, but your PhD might not be of national importance. If you cannot define which area of national importance that your PhD is helping us, the US, to, or we help the US, or has helped the US, or other countries. Therefore, we can predict that it will also help the US. Then you might not be able to qualify. So the diploma itself, it's not I guess a make or break, a criterion. All right. Okay. So now, here I say thank you for watching. So like I said in the beginning, if you can follow us or subscribe on our YouTube channel, Immigration Lawyer Claudine Gasana, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. The YouTube and the Instagram are the new platforms. We are trying it out, because as much as we can to reach anyone who needs to learn more about immigration, and what options are there. We welcome you to join us. We try to stay up to date with what's happening In the past, we've talked about immigration updates, like, the news, what's in the news, what's happening, because in the past 5 years, immigration became a hot topic. It has always been a hot topic, but now it's, changes are happening on the daily, and sometimes we won't be doing a 30 minutes presentation bi-weekly. We can just hop on Instagram or any of these. We also have a website, by the way, where we have different articles for you to read more about any of different immigration benefits that we help you to reach your American dream. All right. So I thank you for joining me. I'm gonna say thank you and have a good weekend. We'll be back in a couple weeks or maybe sooner on Instagram. Hey, so come and follow us, and so you can stay up to date. Okay, have a good one. All right. Bye.